Have you ever felt like you're living in an invisible loop? Like running on a treadmill that never stops, no matter how fast you go? You wake up, push through the day, try new strategies, hustle harder, yet somehow nothing truly changes. I lived in that loop for years. It wasn't laziness or lack of effort. It felt deeper, like something was wired into my very being. And one day, it hit me. It wasn't my circumstances keeping me stuck, it was a signal I was unknowingly sending out every single day. Studies from Stanford and the HeartMath Institute show our emotional state emits frequencies that shape our outcomes. What if the key isn't doing more, but tuning in differently? Just 3 minutes a day changed everything. Stay with me because what I'm about to share might shift your entire reality. Do you know what it feels like to smile with your mouth while your chest is screaming in silence? That was me every day. I became a master of pretending everything was fine. But behind closed doors, I was scared to check my bank balance. I'd delay it for days, hoping the numbers would somehow change. Sometimes I'd stare at the fridge, then at my phone, doing the math. Should I eat tonight or top up my data so I could answer job emails? It wasn't just financial stress. It was emotional paralysis. Shame became a second skin. I felt heavy, like I was dragging the weight of every failed decision behind me. I was doing everything right. Journaling, meditating, reading The Power of Now, doing 369 scripting, visualizing my dream life on a vision board taped above my bed. But still, nothing changed. What haunted me wasn't just the struggle, it was the stagnation. It felt like the universe was on mute. And maybe I was too. Then one night, I caught myself. I was lying in bed, trying to visualize abundance. But underneath the surface, my body was tense, my chest tight, my breath shallow. And I realized before sleep, the moment where most neurologically suggestible, I wasn't sending out hope. I was radiating fear. I wasn't dreaming. I was bracing, like my whole system was preparing for another day of not enough. That was the turning point. Not a dramatic breakthrough, just a quiet noticing. So I decided to try one small thing. A whisper of curiosity instead of control. One question. What if it's safe to believe something new? The next night, another. What if I'm not broken, just out of tune? Then, what if the universe has already heard me, and it's me who needs to listen? These weren't affirmations. They were gentle reopenings. Little keys unlocking doors I didn't even realize were shut. Within weeks, I noticed small shifts. I started sleeping deeper. I felt less tight in my chest. I wasn't spiraling every time I checked my account. And then, slowly, new opportunities arrived. A friend recommended me for a remote job I hadn't applied for. Unexpected money came through from a tax refund I thought I'd missed. Coincidence? Maybe. But science says otherwise. According to the HeartMath Institute, when the heart and brain reach coherence, the body enters an optimal state for clarity, resilience, and decision-making. Stanford researchers confirm our subconscious programming, especially in twilight states like just before sleep, shapes 95% of our outcomes. So I wasn't just thinking differently. I was tuning differently. What about you? Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right but something invisible holds you back? Let me know in the comments. I read everyone. And if this resonates, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Not just to support this message, but to keep reminding your nervous system that new stories are possible. Stay with me, because next, we're diving into the science behind frequency loops and how to break them. This isn't magic. It's quantum, and it might just explain everything you've been feeling. What if I told you you're not stuck because life is against you, but because your body is still tuned to a frequency that no longer serves you? We often think of poverty as a lack of money, but quantum science and trauma research tell a deeper story. You don't just live in scarcity. Your nervous system remembers it. Every sigh, every shallow breath, every muscle that tenses when you open a bill. It becomes a broadcast, like a radio station you didn't even know was playing. And here's the part no one talks about. Your life doesn't respond to your goals, it responds to your signal. In quantum physics, we now understand that reality is not fixed, it's probabilistic. Every possibility already exists in the quantum field. But what determines what you collapse into? Your observer effect. Your emotional frequency. What you are not, what you wish. According to the HeartMath Institute, your heart creates an electromagnetic field that extends up to 3 feet outside your body. That field changes depending on your emotional state. And Stanford's research confirms 95% of our decisions and actions come from subconscious programming, not conscious intention. So when you say, "I want abundance," but your body is bracing, your breath is tight, your nervous system is still stuck in survival mode, you're sending out a contradictory signal. And the quantum field doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your coherence. That's when I realized I wasn't poor because I lacked money. I was poor because my body kept broadcasting the frequency of lack. Enter the polyvagal theory. It explains that our nervous system always prioritizes what's familiar, not necessarily what's safe. So if stress and scarcity have been your emotional home, your body will keep returning there, because it knows that pattern. That's why affirmations didn't work for me. That's why my vision board stayed flat. Because I was trying to think my way out of a loop that was stored in my physiology. That changed everything. Instead of trying to force change during the day, when I was already overwhelmed and tense, I began shifting energy right before sleep, when the subconscious is most open. No pressure, just presence. Because the doorway to a new frequency is softness. I didn't fight my nervous system. I invited it to feel something new. Not through effort, but through signal. So here's the core idea. Your body is a transmitter. And whatever you rehearse emotionally becomes your energetic signature. Gratitude, safety, curiosity, stillness. These states retune the field around you. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are coherent with. And that coherence isn't loud. It's subtle. 3 minutes of emotional recalibration before bed can rewire an entire day's worth of stress. Let that sink in. Now I want to ask you, have you noticed your body clenching even when your mind is trying to stay positive? Have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but something deeper keeps pulling you back? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your truth. In the next part, I'll show you the exact process I used. The 3 questions ritual, how it works, why it's so powerful, and how you can begin tonight. Stay with me. You're not broken. You're just out of tune. But every frequency can be changed. Sometimes, the biggest shifts don't come from changing your entire life. They come from changing the questions you ask yourself before sleep. And not just any questions, but questions that tune your frequency, realign your nervous system, and gently invite your subconscious to stop rehearsing the past and start rehearsing possibility. That's what the 3 questions ritual is for. I didn't create it to be trendy. I created it because I needed something that worked when I had no energy left, when I was too tired to fight my own thoughts, when I didn't want another morning routine or a list of things to fix. I needed something soft and powerful, something that met me exactly where I was, but didn't let me stay there. And so, the ritual began. Question 1. Who did I live as today? This is not a test. It's a doorway. Most of us live each day unconsciously choosing which identity we're inhabiting without even realizing it. This question brings it into light. Was I operating as the old self, the one who expects struggle, delays joy, and holds her breath when checking the mail? Or was I aligned with the version of me who trusts, who speaks up, who moves through the day without flinching? There's no shame here. This isn't about blame, it's about clarity. Because once you see the signal you were sending, you can decide whether it's a station worth staying on. And here's the deeper truth. Every identity carries a frequency, a future, a field of probability. So by asking this question, you're not just reflecting, you're reclaiming your power to choose again. Question 2. What did I feel grateful for today that I used to overlook? This one shifts everything. Because gratitude isn't just a mood, it's a magnetic field. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that when we feel genuine gratitude, we move into heart-brain coherence. Our physiology becomes aligned, and the body starts signaling, I already have enough, which tells the quantum field, I'm no longer searching, I'm receiving. But the key here is nuance. Don't just list what everyone says you should be grateful for. Tune into the micro moments. Maybe it's the way the sunlight hit your kitchen sink. Maybe it's the breath you remembered to take before reacting. Maybe it's the friend who texted you thinking of you, exactly when you needed it. When you honor what you once ignored, you break the trance of lack. You teach your nervous system to feel full without waiting for proof. Over time, this rewires the lens through which your mind scans reality. It stops searching for what's missing and starts recognizing what's already here. Question 3. What signal will I send out differently tomorrow? This isn't a demand. It's not about control or fixing. It's an invitation, a whisper to the subconscious. We're trying something new. This might look like, tomorrow, I'll walk with my shoulders relaxed. Tomorrow, I'll speak from truth, not fear. Tomorrow, I'll let stillness lead before urgency decides. This creates what neuroscientists call a soft intention, a low-pressure imprint that prepares the subconscious to notice new opportunities, actions, and responses. When you give your mind a gentle tuning fork the night before, it begins filtering tomorrow's decisions through a new energetic lens without effort. You're not commanding a new self into existence. You're becoming I-tone gentle intention at a time. So how do you practice this? It's beautifully simple. Every night, take just 3 minutes. Grab a journal or even just your phone's notes app, and write these 3 questions. Who did I live as today? What did I feel grateful for today that I used to overlook? What signal will I send out differently tomorrow? Then, answer, briefly, honestly. No pressure, no performance, just presence. Let it become a rhythm like brushing your teeth, but for your frequency. And don't underestimate the power of consistency. Neuroscience confirms that daily repetition in low-resistance states like the minutes before sleep leads to neuroplastic shifts in identity and perception. You're not just journaling, you're re-scripting your subconscious. Over time, this 3-question ritual became more than a practice. It became a portal to stillness, to coherence, to quantum alignment. And I want you to have that too. Let me ask you this. Which of these 3 questions feels most alive for you right now? Which one might change your tomorrow if you asked it tonight? Let me know in the comments. I read them, I witness them, and if you haven't already, I invite you to like, subscribe, and gently tap the bell. Not to grow a number, but to stay in tune with this rhythm of remembering who you really are. And stay with me, because in the next part, we'll explore how to turn this ritual into a way of being. Not something you do, but something your nervous system craves. Something that becomes your new home frequency. Transformation isn't about intensity. It's about integration. And that is where we're going next. Change isn't real until it lives in your body. And transformation? It doesn't happen in the moments we try the hardest. It happens in the moments we repeat with softness. This is how a ritual becomes a lifestyle. Not through intensity, but intimacy. Through creating space for your nervous system to return, again and again, to a new signal of safety. So how do you turn this 3 questions ritual into a daily rhythm that your system naturally craves? Start by honoring the environment. Before bed, dim the lights. Let the world quiet down. Turn off your phone, or place it on airplane mode. Play a soft instrumental track, something spacious, without words. Light a candle, if it helps. Take a few slow, intentional breaths like you're telling your body, we're safe now. This isn't just ambient sights, neuroscience. In this pre-sleep window, your brain naturally slips into theta wavasa state between waking and dreaming, where the subconscious becomes highly suggestible. According to research from UCLA and Stanford's Department of Neurobiology, theta activity enhances emotional imprinting and memory consolidation. In simpler terms, whatever you feel right before sleep, your body tends to rehearse all night long. That's why this practice matters. That's why this moment matters. You're not just journaling. You're programming your frequency into the quantum field softly, sustainably, night after night. And here's a gentle phrase I began whispering to myself, just before drifting into sleep. I am living in the frequency of enough. Not as a demand, not as a spell, but as a reminder and energetic closing note. like tucking your nervous system into a different timeline. And over time, this isn't something you'll have to remember. It will start to remember you. Your body will crave the quiet. Your mind will soften before sleep. The questions will rise without effort because they've become part of you. You're not just doing a ritual. You're becoming someone who lives in coherence. Someone whose frequency tells the world, I know who I am now. And if you ever miss a night, that's okay. This isn't about perfection. It's about resonance. You always get to return. Let me ask you, can you imagine what might happen if, for the next 30 days, you chose to end each night in alignment instead of anxiety? Can you picture the subtle shifts in your choices, your voice, your energy? Let me know in the comments what's one thing you can shift tonight to create sacred space for this rhythm. Because next, I'm sharing the real results. What shifted in just 30 days of practicing this ritual financially, emotionally, and energetically. You deserve to feel what happens when change is no longer a goal, but a frequency you live inside of. What if I told you that in just 30 days, I didn't become a millionaire, but I stopped feeling like I was drowning? Not all transformation is dramatic. Some of it is quiet, steady, and surprisingly simple. Like the moment I paid my phone bill and didn't feel a lump in my throat. Or when I opened my inbox and, instead of panic, I felt neutral. There was even a morning I caught myself humming while making coffee, and realized I hadn't done that in years. What changed? Not my job, not my income, not the world outside. What changed was the frequency I was living in. After 30 nights of practicing the 3 questions, something internal stabilized. I stopped broadcasting desperation and started broadcasting quiet trust. And the world began to respond not in giant leaps, but in small, unmistakable nudges. A former colleague reached out with a freelance opportunity. An unexpected tax refund landed in my account. But more than that, my body stopped bracing all the time. I could breathe, sleep, think clearly. And it's not just me. One viewer messaged me. I used to feel guilty buying anything for myself. After 3 weeks of this ritual, I bought a book I love and didn't apologize to anyone. I felt worthy. Another wrote, for the first time, I didn't spiral after looking at my credit card balance. I just made a plan and moved forward. These aren't miracles. They're markers of coherence. Proof that when you shift your state, you shift what life mirrors back. You see, transformation doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment repeated gently, daily, until it becomes your new home. Science backs this too. Studies from the University of Wisconsin show that consistent gratitude practices reshape neural pathways, reducing anxiety and increasing long-term emotional resilience. When paired with soft intention, it becomes a subconscious blueprint. So I ask you, what might shift for you? Not after 30 tries, but 30 nights of coherence. Let it land. Because in the next part, we're not adding more, we're simplifying even further. A single invitation. What if you began tonight? And before we go, there pause. Breathe. And ask yourself, what frequency have I been living in without realizing it? Let it speak to you. What if the version of you you've been waiting to become is already waiting for you, just on a different frequency? You don't need another method. You don't need more hustle, more content, or more proof. You need one thing, a clear signal. And the truth is, you don't have to wait for the right mood, moon phase, or Monday. You can begin tonight. Before bed, just 3 questions. 3 honest moments with yourself. No pressure, no perfection, just presence. Who did I live as today? What did I feel grateful for that I used to overlook? What signal will I send out differently tomorrow? That's it. And if you feel called, I invite you to write your first 3 answers right now in the comments below. Let this be your declaration, your frequency shift. Use the hashtag number 3 #FootQuantum so we can find each other, so we remember we're not doing this alone. Because the truth is, you're not stuck. You're just broadcasting an old signal, and you have the power to change it starting tonight. What do you think? What are you ready to tune into? Let me know below. I'll be there, reading every word. And if this moved something inside you, Pass it on, send this to someone else who's been quietly struggling. Someone who doesn't need more pressure, just a softer path. This is your beginning. Not someday. Not eventually. Tonight.